All right, guys, Wes here. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got some exciting updates to share regarding Hogwarts Legacy, including new combat details that have just been confirmed. I'm also going to discuss how much player choice will influence the gameplay and story. Along with that, I'm going to talk about potential expansions and DLC that may be on the horizon after the game launches. If you're hyped about the gameplay of Hogwarts Legacy, you won't want to miss this. We'll be diving into all of the juicy details, including spells, ancient magic, and more. So stick around until the end of the video to get the full details on everything Hogwarts Legacy has in store for us. Real quick, guys, I'm giving away a PS5 and a game of your choice. To enter, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel, comment your Twitter handle, follow me on Twitter, and send me proof that you're following to my Twitter or Discord. I'll also be doing a bonus entry if you follow my Twitch and join my Discord. All of the links are in the description or pinned comment, and the winner will be announced at 90,000 subscribers. In case you haven't noticed somehow, I am fully on board the hype train on platform 9 3/4 for Hogwarts Legacy. I'm a huge fan of this universe, and I'm eager to get my hands on the full-fledged RPG that we've all been waiting so long for. In the past few weeks, people have been getting more and more excited for this game, which makes sense given the fact that the current gen versions are set to launch next month, but there have also been others who are concerned about certain aspects of the gameplay. And I don't mean to sound completely dismissive of these concerns, and I certainly understand why people are concerned about a game this big having issues. After all, we've been waiting decades for a solid Harry Potter game like this, and if gamers know anything, it's that licensed games usually are complete garbage. We've been burned many times by licensed games, including ones from Warner Brothers, and with how buggy a lot of AAA games have been recently, I can totally see why people are raising their eyebrows at Hogwarts Legacy. I mean, it does sometimes sound a little too good to be true, but as someone who's been following every single development update for this game, I am more confident than ever that it's going to be something really special. I am still scratching my head as to how it took this long to get a full-fledged RPG set in the Harry Potter universe, but now that it's here and it's looking this good, I'm willing to forgive the waiting period and jump in. One of the concerns that I've been hearing a lot is in regards to combat. In a magical world like this, it seems like there may be a handful of spells that are completely overpowered, especially since the unforgivable curses are in the game. If you're able to pull out your wand and use an unforgivable curse whenever you feel like it, it probably makes sense why people are worried that the combat is going to become completely trivial. But you have to take a look at the lore being adapted here, because frankly, that same thing could be said of the universe itself. The unforgivable curses are literally taught to students at Hogwarts, and yet there isn't some big problem of students running around and hitting people with the Avada Kedavra curse with a flick of a wand. I am positive that there's going to be some kind of failsafe in Hogwarts Legacy that keeps people from running around using the 3 unforgivable curses. But that being said, the curses are also likely going to feed into the game's quote-unquote morality system. Obviously, it's not going to be a morality system on the level of like Red Dead Redemption, but choice does matter, and using the unforgivable curses will likely have an effect on your character's journey. Now, one thing that is worth noting about the unforgivable curses is that the community manager for Hogwarts Legacy has actually talked about this on Reddit. The curses themselves are all usable in game, and we were shown off in the recent gameplay showcase of the Dark Arts Battle Arena, which caused a fair bit of confusion. The community manager, Chandler Wood, elaborated on them further, making me a bit more confident that they're gonna be handled with care. According to Chandler Wood, the gameplay we saw was on normal difficulty, and it was being played by a pro or just an experienced player, which made combat look very easy and did kind of make the unforgivable curses seem trivial. However, what's really important here is the impact the curses will have on you after the combat scenario. According to the community manager, using the unforgivable curses will cause enemies and NPCs to experience great fear, which is why the gameplay footage looked a tad underwhelming after all 3 of them were used in combat. Think of it like crowd control. Whenever you use an unforgivable curse on one enemy, another one gets kind of stunned because of fear. We also didn't get to see how the non-hostile NPCs treated the player character after the combat scenario ended. Will it be a serious dent made on your character, or if it's going to be something minimal? And the decisions you make with the story will have an impact on how other NPCs and characters actually view your character, rather than you make a decision to use an unforgivable curse and then everybody looks at you differently. It definitely won't be as extensive, and I don't think if you simply use one unforgivable curse, then your character changes into an evil wizard or witch for the rest of the story. Like any good RPG, you'll be able to follow a righteous or path in Hogwarts Legacy, and since there's obviously a pretty massive morality problem surrounding things like the Killing Curse and the Imperious Curse, I think if you're constantly utilizing these curses, I think it will have an effect on your character's moral trajectory. Isn't that the whole point of a classic good versus evil story? Those who choose the righteous path will have to work harder to achieve what they want, while those going down the evil path choose the quick and easy route. Now, it was confirmed that there's not going to be a sliding scale for morality, unfortunately, but like I said, I do feel like if you use and abuse the Killing Curse and just all of the other unforgivable curses, then it will eventually make an effect on how your character turns out at the end. The developers of Hogwarts Legacy have made it clear that this is the game that you're going to want to play over and over again with different characters and different houses So once you make a pivotal decision in the game will likely make it very clear that you're not able to go back from that point. So whether or not the unforgivable curses will affect your character's journey is something that is still to be questioned. In my opinion, the curses are called unforgivable for a reason, and if you utilize them, then it should affect your character's legacy as well as the story's conclusion. In my opinion, I think they should. Having the unforgivable curses as a constant source of temptation for the player is something that I think needs featured in this game. Will you keep doing things by the books and overcoming challenges, or will you take the easy path by using one of the unforgivable curses and risk your character basically being condemned for the remainder of the story? As I stated, we don't know how much that choice is going to matter, but what I will say is choice does matter in Hogwarts Legacy. We just currently don't know the extent. And I think part of the reason why Hogwarts Legacy has been in development for so long is because of how much choice actually matters. Hogwarts Legacy is an incredibly deep game, and I have no doubt that there are going to be some pretty brutal and immense consequences while playing through this game's story. And I personally cannot wait to see how they implement player choice in this game. Let me know in the comment section if you guys think that unforgivable curses should affect your character's story, or if you think they should be used regardless, and your story is determined depending on the dialogue options you choose. Every RPG has some completely busted combinations of weapons or abilities that make the game completely trivial, but there's always some kind of system in place to discourage using the OP strategy. Why would Hogwarts Legacy be any different? Well, let's say you're going to try to run the game without using any of the unforgivable curses. What kind of options does that leave you with? Well, it's quite a lot actually. As of late December 2022, there are promises to be over 20 spells, and a number of them have been confirmed through the gameplay showcases. So far, the confirmed spells are Accio, Descendo, Incendio, Petrificus Totalis, Revelio, Stupefy, Wingardium Leviosa, and then the 3 unforgivable curses, Avada Kedavra, Imperio, and Crucio. Plus, each spell is able to be upgraded and improved upon to make them even more unique and helpful for both combat and traversal throughout the environment. Spells are either slottable or essential, and depending on how they're classified, they may or may not be assigned to your controller for quick access, which will make them easier to whip out at a moment's notice. On top of that, there are currently over a dozen beasts confirmed to be appearing in the game, including boggarts, hippogriffs, graphorns, trolls, dragons, spiders, thestrals, hippogriffs, inferi, dementors, the adorable mooncalves, dragons, and so much more. Some of these beasts will be enemies to you, while others will be able to help you in combat or allow you to ride them throughout the overworld. The sheer amount of content in this game, mixed with player choice actually mattering, it will make this game extremely replayable, especially whenever you consider how much story and environment content will be restricted to certain houses. Now, we don't know the extent of that, but it will surely have some impact on what side quests and spells you get to learn as you progress. One thing that has been somewhat up in the air is the post-launch support for Hogwarts Legacy. Although it seems all but confirmed that there will be some kind of DLC schedule announced in the near future, not too long ago, some data miners managed to find references to DLC on the game's official website, but these references were quietly removed without any official statement from WB or Avalanche Software. We know that there are going to be exclusive side quests for certain versions of the game, which implies that the developers are working on new content that can be slotted in the game with ease. Although it's hard to say just how elaborate this DLC is going to be. Personally, I think if the game is a success, it's inevitable that new quests will be added to the game, or perhaps new NPCs that correlate with other parts of the Harry Potter lore. Honestly, even if the DLC is in the form of new fantastic beasts added to the game, similar to how Ark Survival Evolved does their DLC, where they're constantly adding new dinosaurs to the game, it would be awesome if Hogwarts Legacy did that same thing. Constantly updating the Vivarium with new building materials, new spells added to the game, and just a ton of stuff for us to do post-launch is something that could really make this game last a long time. Now, with a game this big though, there are a number of things that could go wrong. This kind of goes back to what I said earlier about the game feeling too good to be true, and I'm a bit concerned that WB will get greedy and start pushing some DLC models that nobody wants. I swear, if Hogwarts Legacy ends up getting some of the seasonal battle pass, people are going to riot. In a perfect world, the game will get some free updates now and again to improve the world, add new creatures like I said, new characters, and perhaps some new side missions. And heck, I wouldn't even mind if there was some paid expansions like what we got with The Witcher 3 back in 2015 and 2016. But with a property as popular as Harry Potter, I definitely worry about the game's plans for future content distribution. Maybe I'm being a little too skeptical here, but with the references to future DLC being found in the game's website, and then the lack of any real confirmation as to how the business model is going to progress, I think a lot of the future plans are still up in the air, which means it will all depend on whether or not WB is satisfied with the game's sales numbers. If they're good, the DLC model will likely be very consumer friendly, but if Hogwarts Legacy ends up being a game with a small but strong community, then that's where the excessive paid content is likely going to be pushed. I'm confident that a game this elaborate and crowd pleasing will be a sales success, but you never know. If the launch goes well, I can see this being one of the best selling selling games of 2023, but if it's super buggy like I'm afraid it will be, they might start trying to pull some shenanigans on us. All in all, Hogwarts Legacy looks like an incredible game, and as a longtime fan of the Harry Potter universe, this is the game that I've been waiting years for. It'll be amazing what can be done when a popular franchise gets the respect it deserves in the video game world. Assuming Hogwarts Legacy does well and is a successful title, I wouldn't be surprised if other famous properties start getting the treatment they're due in the gaming world, and hopefully it creates a new golden age for licensed games. Well, I guess this would be kind of the first golden age, but you get my point. There are so many franchises that would be a perfect fit for video games, but just haven't gotten the care and respect they need, simply because the people in charge of the license don't really think they need to put out that much effort into the game in order to turn a profit. Hogwarts Legacy could end up being the game that finally proves licensed games can be incredible if they're given the right amount of care and love, and as a fan of the universe, every single update that comes out about this game just makes me even more excited. And as I stated on Twitter, it is the gift that keeps on giving, and hopefully WB doesn't pull a fast one on us and this turns into a Cyberpunk situation, but I'll talk about that nightmare in a future video. But let's end this thing on a good note. Hogwarts Legacy looks awesome and I can't wait to play. Let me know if you guys plan on playing it in the comment section. Like the video, share it out to all of your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel with your notifications turned on. Be sure to enter the PS5 giveaway from the start of the video, and until next time, this has been Wes, and I will talk to you guys on the next video.